In this episode of the Atomic Zone, a lonely two-lane road cuts through miles of empty farmland under a cold midnight sky as Sheriff's Deputy Tommy Grayson spots a black luxury sedan weaving over the center line just 20 minutes after a fatal hit-and-run leaves a bicyclist dead on the shoulder of Route 9. The sedan finally pulls over beside a rusted fence line, and out steps a smug, expensively dressed man in his 40s, already irritated before the deputy even reaches the window. The man immediately starts name-dropping local politicians, talking about golf outings with judges, and demanding to know whether Tommy has any idea who he is. Tommy barely reacts. Deputy Grayson is young, awkward, soft-spoken, and strangely emotionless, with the kind of blank stare that makes it difficult to tell whether he is nervous or simply not listening at all. The rich man grows more confident by the second. He casually mentions that his lawyer once had an entire DUI case disappear in 48 hours, and he keeps grinning while Tommy shines a flashlight across the front bumper, revealing fresh dents and streaks of red paint. Somewhere nearby, a family is still waiting to hear whether the victim survived. Tommy politely asks the man to step out of the vehicle. The man laughs in disbelief at first, but Tommy gently turns him around, cuffs him without a struggle, and places him into the back seat of the patrol car. While apologetically explaining that he already called the traffic stop into dispatch, so procedure requires him to check back in before they start asking questions. The rich man smirks from the back seat and tells Tommy that this whole thing is a career-ending mistake. Tommy says nothing. The patrol car sits alone in the darkness while crickets chirp outside, and the police radio crackles to life. Tommy calmly reports that he has one detained subject and begins reciting plate numbers and vehicle descriptions in clipped police-style radio codes. And then the deputy suddenly starts downplaying the evidence. He tells dispatch that the vehicle is probably not a positive match for the fatal hit and run, and says the damage could be pre-existing. The rich man slowly relaxes in the back seat, smiling to himself as he realizes this nervous small-town deputy is about to let him walk away. But then dispatch answers. An older woman's tired voice cuts through the speaker, and immediately the tone changes. The dispatcher says, "Tommy, now you listen to me real careful." Tommy freezes. The rich man's smile fades just slightly. The dispatcher continues, her voice growing sharper and more personal with every sentence. "Tommy, you bring that prisoner straight back here, you hear me? Straight back." This no longer sounds like professional police communication. It sounds like family. Tommy quietly says that he knows what he's doing. The dispatcher snaps back instantly. "No, sir, you do not know what you are doing. We already talked about this after the Henderson boy and after that drifter out by Miller's Creek." The rich man's expression finally changes. Now he is listening carefully. The dispatcher keeps talking, sounding less like a police operator and more like an exhausted aunt trying to stop a troubled child from hurting someone again. "Tommy, don't you do anything bad tonight." Tommy grips the steering wheel tighter. "Tommy Grayson, I swear your mama's watching you from heaven right now." The prisoner suddenly realizes the terrifying truth. Nobody is accusing Deputy Tommy Grayson of being corrupt. They are terrified that he is a serial killer. The dispatcher practically pleads now. "You bring him in alive, Tommy. Do you hear me? Alive." The rich man begins nervously rattling his handcuffs against the door. His confidence is completely gone. Tommy slowly reaches over and switches off the radio. Silence. The patrol car remains motionless for several long seconds while distant thunder rolls across the countryside. Then Tommy softly mutters that everybody is always yelling at him and that someday they are all going to feel sorry for how they treated him. The patrol car slowly pulls away from the roadside. Its taillights disappear deeper and deeper into the darkness. The rich man starts screaming from the back seat while the lonely road stretches endlessly ahead. And in the Atomic Zone, justice and irony are sometimes two sides of the very same coin. Because on certain roads, in certain forgotten towns, the worst thing a guilty man can discover is that the monster wearing the badge might hate everybody even more than he hates criminals.